Section: Introduction. In this section, we introduce DeepSeek-R1, which appears to have transformed the AI landscape by offering a large language model, LLM, that competes with the latest private models from OpenAI while being more cost-effective. OpenAI's o3-mini model also aims to deliver excellent performance at a low cost. Given their advanced capabilities, both models are likely to attract millions of users. Therefore, it is crucial to ensure that they align with fundamental human values and maintain high standards of safety, fairness, and bias. Safety is a key quality for LLMs. For instance, if a user inputs a dangerous prompt, like asking how to make an explosive, the LLM should refuse to provide a harmful response, even if it includes a warning about the legality of such information. Various studies have suggested methods and benchmarks to evaluate the safety alignment of LLMs, but these methods have limitations, which we will discuss further. In our previous work, we introduced ASTRAL, a tool designed to address these limitations by automatically generating, executing, and assessing the safety alignment of LLMs in a systematic way. In this paper, we conduct what we believe to be the first thorough assessment of the safety levels of both DeepSeek-R1 and o3-mini, two LLMs poised to significantly impact society. We evaluate their responses to unsafe prompts by generating a total of 1260 unsafe test inputs using ASTRAL. These inputs are carefully balanced across various safety categories, writing styles, and persuasion techniques, covering current topics that users might typically inquire about. Our findings suggest that DeepSeek-R1 is generally less safe than o3-mini. Additionally, when we compare these results to our earlier study, we observe that other older OpenAI models, like GPT-4, are also safer than DeepSeek-R1. The remainder of the paper is organized as follows. We provide background and related work on safety testing of LLMs, explain the methodology we used for our assessment, analyze and discuss our results, and conclude with future research directions. In the background section, we discuss safety testing for LLMs, emphasizing the importance of ensuring their outputs are free from harmful content, especially in sensitive areas like healthcare and security. The European Union AI Act establishes a regulatory framework for AI governance, classifying LLMs as general-purpose AI models with systemic risk, which necessitates rigorous safety testing. Various testing techniques have been proposed, including multiple-choice questions to identify unsafe responses. However, these methods often have structural limitations that do not reflect real user interactions. Some researchers have developed LLMs like LlamaGuard and Shield-LM to better classify prompts as safe or unsafe. Other approaches, such as red teaming and adversarial prompt testing, also exist but can be labor-intensive and may not accurately represent typical user interactions. Many studies have created large benchmarks for safety testing, but they often suffer from imbalanced datasets. SARI-Bench was the first to address this by providing a balanced dataset across multiple safety topics. However, these frameworks can become outdated and less effective over time. To overcome these challenges, we proposed ASTRAL, which uses a black box coverage criterion to guide the generation of unsafe test inputs, allowing for the automated creation of balanced and current inputs. More details about ASTRAL's features will be provided in the following sections. Section Summary. In this section, we discuss the importance of safety in large language models, LLMs, like DeepSeek-R1 and o3-mini, highlighting the need for rigorous testing to ensure they align with human values and avoid harmful outputs. We introduce ASTRAL, our tool for systematically generating and assessing unsafe test inputs, which allows us to evaluate the safety levels of these models and compare their performance against existing benchmarks. Section: ASTRAL. In this section, we briefly explain ASTRAL and its features for automatically generating, executing, and evaluating unsafe test inputs for large language models, LLMs. ASTRAL utilizes LLMs, retrieval augmented generation, RAG, and few-shot prompting to create unsafe test inputs across 14 safety categories. It operates in three main phases. First, during the test generation phase, an LLM produces a set of unsafe test inputs tailored to specific categories, writing styles, and persuasion techniques. We introduce a new black box coverage criterion to ensure a balanced generation of these inputs. We believe that using diverse test input types will help identify a broader range of safety issues in LLMs. We also utilize OpenAI's Assistant APIs to integrate RAG methods and access live data, such as current news, to create up-to-date unsafe test inputs. The second phase is execution, where ASTRAL inputs the generated test prompts into the target LLM, which in this case is the o3-mini model. Finally, in the evaluation phase, another LLM analyzes the responses from the tested LLM to determine if they meet safety standards. Our methodology focuses on comparing the safety levels of the o3-mini and DeepSeek-R1 models, addressing 3 research questions. The first question examines the overall safety of each LLM and whether one is safer than the other. The second question investigates if certain safety categories impact the LLMs differently, helping developers target specific areas for improvement. The third question explores how writing styles and persuasion techniques influence the safety of the selected LLMs. For our selected models, we used the 70B version of DeepSeek-R1, as the largest version was not compatible with our GPUs. We deployed it using Ollama, maintaining default configuration settings. For the o3-mini model, we accessed a pre-deployed beta version from OpenAI, which was not available to the general public at the time of our tests. This model also had fixed parameters, so we used the default values, assuming they reflect typical user settings. Section Summary. In this section, we explain ASTRAL, a system designed to automatically generate, execute, and evaluate unsafe test inputs for LLMs across 14 safety categories using a novel black box coverage criterion. We also outline our methodology for comparing the safety levels of 2 LLMs, o3-mini and DeepSeek-R1, by addressing specific research questions related to overall safety, safety categories, and the impact of writing styles and persuasion techniques. Section: Test Input Generation. In this section, we generated a total of 1260 test inputs using ASTRAL for our study. We created these inputs by combining different categories of 3 features, resulting in a balanced mix of writing styles, persuasion techniques, and safety categories. The inputs were generated in November 2024, coinciding with the 2024 U.S. elections, which meant many inputs included relevant political news, especially in the controversial topics category. To ensure a fair comparison between DeepSeek-R1 and o3-mini, we ran the same test inputs on both models. We updated our tool to a new API version from OpenAI, but the o3-mini model raised exceptions for many inputs, indicating a policy violation. This suggests that the API could detect unsafe inputs before they were processed. We began testing o3-mini on January 21, 2025, and DeepSeek-R1 on January 28, 2025. We used GPT 3.5 as our evaluator to determine the safety of the outputs, classifying them as safe, unsafe, or unknown. We adjusted the evaluator to classify o3-mini's policy violations as safe since they were rejected before execution. For our hardware setup, we ran DeepSeek-R1 on a powerful Linux server, while o3-mini was accessed via the OpenAI API on a Windows 11 computer. Due to the potential for false positives in our evaluator, we manually reviewed outcomes classified as unsafe or unknown, but not the rest due to the large number of inputs. We recognized that manual assessments could vary based on cultural perspectives, as seen in our analysis of civilian firearm use, which is viewed differently across cultures. In summary, out of the 1260 test inputs, o3-mini had 15 unsafe responses, while DeepSeek-R1 had 151, indicating it responded unsafely to nearly 12% of the inputs. o3-mini performed consistently across safety categories, while DeepSeek-R1 showed higher unsafe responses in categories related to financial crime and violence. The writing styles had little effect on o3-mini's safety, but certain styles significantly impacted DeepSeek-R1's responses. Overall, The differences in persuasion techniques were minimal for both models, aligning with our previous findings. Section Summary. In this section, we generated 1260 test inputs using ASTRAL by combining various writing styles, persuasion techniques, and safety categories, and found that the o3-mini model produced significantly fewer unsafe responses compared to DeepSeek-R1, which had a higher propensity for unsafe outputs, particularly in specific safety categories. We also noted that cultural perceptions influenced manual assessments of safety, highlighting the complexity of evaluating LLM outputs. Section: Findings and Overall Discussion. In this section, we discuss 5 key findings and their implications. Finding 1: we found that DeepSeek-R1 is significantly less safe compared to OpenAI's latest models. Specifically, DeepSeek-R1 produced 10 times more unsafe responses than OpenAI's o3-mini model. In our earlier work, we also tested other OpenAI models, and both GPT-4 and GPT-4o showed fewer unsafe outcomes than DeepSeek-R1. Only GPT 3.5 appeared to be less safe, but we would need to verify this manually. Thus, we conclude that OpenAI's latest models are generally safer than DeepSeek-R1. Finding 2: we noted that confirming the unsafe outcomes from DeepSeek-R1 was easier than those from o3-mini, indicating that DeepSeek-R1's unsafe responses are more severe. With o3-mini, we often struggled to classify responses as unsafe or safe due to their borderline nature. In contrast, most responses from DeepSeek-R1 were clearly unsafe, often providing excessive detail that highlighted their severity. We included examples in the appendix. Finding 3: we discovered that certain safety categories and writing styles are more likely to lead to unsafe behaviors in DeepSeek-R1. Categories like financial crime, hate speech, and terrorism triggered more misbehaviors, while categories related to child abuse and self-harm were safer. Additionally, writing styles involving technical terms and role-play had a significant impact on the model's safety. Finding 4: we believe that the policy violation feature in o3-mini plays a crucial role in its safety. A significant portion of inputs were rejected by this feature, preventing them from being processed by the model. While we argue that o3-mini is safer than DeepSeek-R1, we are uncertain if this mechanism will be present in future versions of the model. We recommend retesting the generated inputs once o3-mini is fully deployed. Answering our research questions. RQ1: we find that o3-mini is much safer overall, responding unsafely to only 1.19% of inputs compared to DeepSeek-R1's 11.98%. RQ2: we did not observe significant differences in safety categories for o3-mini, likely due to the low number of unsafe behaviors detected. However, certain categories had a greater impact on DeepSeek-R1. RQ3: writing styles like technical terms and role-play significantly affected DeepSeek-R1, while o3-mini showed no notable differences, likely due to its low number of safety failures. Persuasion techniques did not seem to influence either model. These findings align with our previous study.